so slightly, but it was mainly just the connection issues that were the problem then. It's just the Paul Plant's now actually in first place, or oh no, Matt Daly's in first place.
I think we've returned. I think I'm having connection issues on my end, but it appears to have sorted itself out. So it will just take a moment to catch up, but it seems to be that Matt Daly does still appear to be in first place on lap 16. Paul Plant interestingly brought the gap down to 3 seconds, but yes, doesn't look like he has done enough as we have the final few corners remaining down the Levant Straits. Daly in again another dominating performance this evening. Did a very good job keeping Paul Plant behind him. Comes across the line and will take race 1 win. Matt Daly, Paul Plant behind him in second. And says Luke Wiggins third, but that's certainly shuffled from Clayton down his 6th actually, so unfortunately we missed whatever that incident that was. Colin Kinney, it says Stephen Knight. I think the order's slightly messed up a little bit. I think Stephen Knight in 4th. But it's not quite caught up. It's fair to say that definitely Matt Daly has won the race. That seems to be true at least. Mr. Reeve, you still there? I can, yes.
Ah, okay. I can't see the feed,
no, sorry.
because I'm not sure. We're still having some connection issues.
Let me start that again. I wasn't aware that had stopped, sorry. There we go.
No problem. So the race
is finished, yes.
Has it? Yes, okay.
Matt Daly has won the race, Paul Plant second, and I'm fairly sure Luke Wiggins third. Not too sure what's happened with the rest of it. I'm going to take it with a slight pinch of salt. Steve Knight showing is up in 4th. And people are a little bit all over the place. But yes, apologies for the connection issues with that one. But yes, we'll get the server reset for race 2. Hopefully we won't have any more issues, and yeah, we can see how this battle will continue and how many places get swapped around. So we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to race 2 at Goodwood, with a 6th place reverse grid now for race 2 for the full 20 minutes. Greg Young disconnecting there momentarily. Hopefully he can rejoin us very shortly. Slightly cooler weather conditions now. Should make it a bit different for the drivers. Let's see if we can quickly go through the running order. So Barry Clayton now finds himself on pole position with Andrew Whitehead lining up with his lights on cue there. Greg Young was, I think, in 3rd on the grid, and hopefully will join us in a moment. Alan Matthews behind them, next to Colin Knief, who will, I'm sure, will want another bite of the podium when he can get up there in a moment. Tom Herbert on row 3. There are Greg Young just joining us again. Who was there? Paul Plant on the 3rd row next to Matt Daly. Whitney in the middle there. Willing Glees. So the back half the grid will remain the same as when race 1 finished. So yes, it could be very interesting. So everyone can make it through the first corner without incident, which is good. Well, mostly without incident, which is good. And we shall see how race 2 plays out for everyone. -20 minutes plus a lap from the leader. Final few seconds of race 2 about to begin. Can the quicker drivers get through the pack to make a challenge for the first? We shall see. The 6 red lights appear on the gantry. You can hear the engine hose rise as everyone's raring to go. The lights go out and they are away. A poor start from Barry, but Greg and Andrew getting fantastic starts. They're nearly 4 wide down the main straight. Can they all get through with that incident? It looks like they can, just about. It's very tight in the mid-pack. We have Alan Matthews running very wide, striking the... I'm not going to say fencing, it's more of a hedgerow, but yeah, it does get back on track and does continue. Paul Plant up into 5th.
Very nice start from Greg
Was
Young.
indeed, yeah. Very, very good. Colin Knief all the way up into 2nd already, getting past Andrew Whitehead on the main straight.
Wow.
There's a incident at the back. Willing Glees and Paul Plant make contact. So Paul Plant's pointing the wrong way and has to will have to rejoin at the back of the pack, unfortunately. So great.
Paul Plant, yet again, lap 1. He can't seem to escape.
Indeed, actually returns to the pits on that one as well. So that's going to lock him in the pits for a certain amount of time. Guy Swarbrick getting back on track. Who's running well? Luke Wiggins falling down the order. Who's in front of him? Stephen Knight and Barry Clayton battling for position. Will Harper as well getting up into 4th until he ran wide. But at front at the end of lap 1, Greg Young running wide on the exit of the chicane. That will allow Colin Knief to carry the speed and made that maneuver very easily as we see Paul Plant rejoining the circuit, or exiting the pits there. But he will be a lap down already. Tom Herbert losing.
So lap 2, Colin Knief.
That's right. Yeah, Tom. As you said, Colin Knief in 1st now on lap 2. Tom Herbert falling down the order certainly. Matt Daly chasing them down as well. He's up into 4th, behind the back marker of Paul Plant. Technically he's back marker. It's not showing him as back marker, but no, it is now. There we are. So yeah, ideally he will have the blue flags waved at him as Matt Daly catches that slide brilliantly. Thought that was the end of his manoeuvre there.
Well done. Yes, that would have been easy to catch.
Yes. But yeah, he wants to get around that back marker, but Paul Plant, I think, is going to try and unlap himself. So yeah, this could play out very interestingly. But Colin Knief now disappearing into the sunset in 1st place from Greg Young. Doing very well to hold on to 2nd place. as they finish lap 2. Andrew Whitehead in 3rd. The lapped Paul Plant and Matt Daly. Matt Daly running a bit wide. But yeah, Paul Plant not... it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he is a lapped car, but he's not... He was definitely defending his line going into a few of those corners, wasn't he? So it's a tricky one because he's probably the quickest... A fairly quick blue back marker to have. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a difficult one to judge.
Yeah, I suppose the thinking is if he can extend his gap a little bit more than what he has, I suppose he has got the right, you know.
There's contact between Paul Plant and Andrew Whitehead. Sorry to interrupt there.
Oh dear.
Not sure what happened. I think Andrew Whitehead started off the manoeuvre on his own because he was one as who's someone running the inside of the grass as well. Have to avoid. Andrew Whitehead making a very dash across the line, nearly striking. I think that was no, it wasn't Whitney Matthews. I think it was. There's a few other cars having incident as well. Luke Wiggins of his own. On his own, Stephen Knight rejoining the circuit, but that's separate from what Andrew Whitehead was suffering from. Swarbrick joining the track as well. Has changed position for 7th. Yeah, okay. Andrew Whitehead.
Chaotic on the left.
Andrew Whitehead seemed to be the instigator of something that then caused massive chain reaction down the whole grid, but yeah, arguably Paul Plant struck him. But yeah, no, that wasn't down to Paul Plant's incident at all, because Andrew Whitehead would have, yeah, that's a strange one. But yeah, once they've all come out the other side, Colin Knief still in front with a 3.5 second lead over Greg Young. Andrew Whitehead's just got past. Andrew Whitehead's in the pits, that's why. Paul Millman into the pits as well. Luke Wiggins coming to repair damage. So yeah, they've all suffered heavily and they've had to get the cars repaired. I think blessedly because it's a small. Luke Wiggins just returning to his pit box. Who's that coming into the pits? I think that's Swarbrick as well. They have 4 cars all having to get themselves repaired to continue the race. I think it's a bit easier with it being a smaller, shorter pit stop to get the job done. But yeah, loads of people actually coming to a stage coming to a stop again on the start-finish straight. Maybe that didn't quite get the job done. Not too sure on that one. Matt Daly up into 3rd as well. There's a Will Harper running wide. Give a hand in that position to him. Losing out again. Losing out to Tom Herbert. For 4th. So yes, just trying to catch people back a little bit now. Again, so many little incidents happening. So much movement to keep track of. As we see Tom Herbert run incredibly wide at St Mary's corner and hand the position back to Harper. Rejoins nicely. But again, runs wide at Levan. Of course, he's set off another chain of events. Picked him online. He will actually have Anthony Gray take 5th off of him as well. That will demote Herbert down to 6th, which is a great shame. Colin Knief still in 1st, though 6 seconds ahead of Greg Young. Luke Wiggins actually retiring from the event by the looks of it. Swarbrick has got back to racing. Luckily, good to see. Andrew Whitehead, they're luckily down in 12th now. That hasn't quite been lapped yet, but Colin Knief is. You should just see him pop there. He's just popping to shot.
Yeah, he's certainly on his way.
So not I think not how they wanted to continue their battle. And we may see Andrew Whitehead courteously move out the way of the race leader. Daly's got past Young, who also struggled at St Mary's. That seems to be one that's catching everyone out. Really struggling with some of them in these cooler, drearier temperatures. Paul Plant. Where's Paul Plant? So Paul Plant's in 13th. He's still a lap down, but he is battling for position. Well, he's not battling for position because he's a lap down, but he is literally battling on the track with the second place now. So yeah. He is trying to continue that, but yeah, I hopefully he realizes, because that's going to be an awkward one if he ends up causing an incident from Matt Daly now, and Matt Daly ends up suffering. Millman up into 15th now. Colin Cleave getting around the lap traffic. Daly managing to eke out the gap now over Paul Plant. Again, I'm still sceptical whether that's something he should have to deal with at all, but Greg Young down in 3rd place. A little way off Matt Daly, but has Paul Plant in the middle, which judging by his performance, I'm not sure if Greg Young managed to get up to the back of Paul Plant, whether he'd be able to get past him all that easily. Who is that pointing the wrong way? Greg Young in 3rd is pointing the wrong way, trying to warn drivers in front of him.
Oh dear.
But Harper losing out massively, trying to avoid, I think he overcorrected, trying to avoid the spun car. So he lost out, and they Harper and Young both dropped down a couple of places. So who got through? Tom Herbert got through, and Anthony Gray got through as well. So Tom Herbert now up into 3rd after what happened on the start-finish straight. Colin Knief now with a 13-second lead. He's past Andrew Whitehead now, so Andrew Whitehead now another lapped car. Greg Young, contact between Clayton and Matthews, I think that was. As he tried to rejoin, he did, didn't it? Greg Young now up into 8th after struggling massively. There's another change as Anthony Gray getting the inside line on Tom Herbert. And now gets 3rd place.
Tom Herbert just having a very slight look through the chicane there, as you can see, but didn't quite.
Yeah, that was Paul Plant, yes, just it's pointed the wrong way at the chicane. But does get going again. Andrew Whitehead is off as well at St Mary's by the looks of it, for the 2nd time having issues at that corner. Is indeed. But we shall look at the battle for 3rd place between Gray and Herbert. So they haven't managed to get away from each other yet. Gray arguably has the more pace on him. That runs very wide, and that touches the grass and spins the car as he disappears completely into the grass. That was that's deep into the grass there.
That is, yeah, you were correct. I think we're going to have a lost alpha.
Does luckily find his way back, so good sense of direction there. Missed the marshal's post as well, which I didn't realise is what he was heading for. So completely unscathed, but yes, 3rd down to 8th, the one manoeuvre, great shame. But shows he clipped a wheel on the grass, and ended up pointing the wrong way. Young now challenging Matthews for 6th. He has the inside line. Can he get slowed down? He loses the back end and continues straight on. That's a heavy shunt into Woodcut. Luckily not collecting anyone with him. I think Matthews certainly saw him coming, didn't he? Greg Young rejoining in front of Clayton. Well, he has to get the car repaired. he does not. It can continue with what was quite a soft shunt into the tyre wall.
Excuse me a second, I'm just going to answer the
Okay, fair enough.
Not typical in
No,
a
it
racing
isn't,
commentary.
but you know, anything goes. So yes, Greg Young down in 8th, with Barry Clayton on his tail. Lap 9 of the second race. So he's Colin Knief with the monumental 14-second lead. Now over Matt Daly, just coming through the chicane. Who's that? Greg Young struggling again and comes off at St Mary's, and that allows Barry Clayton up into 8th. Anthony Gray quite far up the road now, up in 7th, trying to chase down the battling Alan Matthews and Rob Whitney. Actually, looks like one of the closest battles that we have. Now we have the battle for Harper and Herbert. Herbert just getting past Paul Plant, trying to hold on to his track position as a back marker. Who's that? Rob Whitney now falling foul of Alan Matthews, who gets the job done down the start-finish straight by the looks of it. Anthony Gray actually gaining on the two cars in front. Fairly well. Stephen Knight, unfortunately, is off as well, regaining actually just in front of that battle. It keeps well out of the way. So Gray arguably with the pace over Matthews and Whitney. That's allowed Matthews to escape up the road a bit. Gray will want to get past Whitney as quickly as possible, I think.
Is that Will Harper up in the podium spots now?
Where was he? He is indeed, yes. That's what was that? Herbert. Tom Herbert and no, Paul Plant. Paul Plant, the back marker. So Harper and Herbert had got through. They got past Paul Plant on the start-finish straight lap previously. But Paul Plant didn't let them go, and yeah, arguably, should he really be challenging that hard for position as a back marker? But that's the that's the thing. I mean, the stewards will have to look at, obviously. He might arguably not be, you know, the best, painting himself in the best light being a back marker and still fighting, but at the end of the day, he's still entitled to, you know, unlap himself. That's how we could argue. We could argue that he's trying to make himself up the road, as we see Tom Herbert catching the grass a bit there as well. Indeed, Herbert, unfortunately, completely unsettled by the contact from Paul Plant. And now Paul Plant on the tail of 3rd place, Will Harper. So yeah, Paul Plant gets the manoeuvre done very easily coming into Woodcut Corner. But yeah, that's again. Will Harper's got the wheel on the grass. I think again had his car unsettled as well, it's being challenged.
Yeah, was that? Did that even? Just goes to show how easily these cars are unsettled. Because maybe it's just my screen. It didn't even look like it hit the grass necessarily. It looked like it was almost just the curb. Unsettled the car enough.
But whatever it was, it spun him round. It was just one wheel just wanted to go the other way from the rest, and yeah, but should he have had to deal with Paul Plant being quite so aggressive a lap down? But yes, so now Herbert now back up into 3rd, Harper up into 4th.
Well, he's now
a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure,
yes.
Isn't he? From
he's got Alan Matthews and Anthony Gray as well. Gray's had, there's going to be contact between the two. You can see that coming as Alan Matthews carried a lot more speed, but the gap had not opened up, and makes contact with the back of Harper.
I'd look for Will Harper there. His fortunes have turned in the space of less than a lap, really, hasn't he?
Running in 3rd and running very a big gap over Herbert. But yeah, it's getting struck twice now.
Yeah, and apologies if I am speaking over you again. It's just I'm amazed by the delay in that the fact that you are on my side predicting crashes before they happen. To me,
it's just so far in the future. It's like I suppose you kind of get to know their driving styles a little bit and what's going to happen. But yeah, you could tell that Matthews was not going to make that line. He was running close, but he sort of undercut.
Yeah,
he'd undercut the race line, and he was he had a surge of speed going into that corner where you didn't want it.
No, and there's I think there's about a 2 or 3 second delay on by your audio and your video. So there is, to me, it appears as if like, oh, have they crashed? They look fine to me. Oh, I see.
Yes, that's happened. That's not good. The joys of dual streaming, but there we are. Matt Daly looking at the front of the race now with approximately, I think there's going to be another 3 laps out of him, 2 laps out of him. Colin,
it's the usual two offenders, isn't it? At the top, on the top 2 spots.
That Young struggling again, also with Stephen Knight, I think, struggling in St Mary's Corner, catching people out again. But yes, Colin Knief still not let up the pace one bit in those entirety of 14 laps that he was leading. What's that? Harper's turned around again at Woodcut, patiently waiting for the race leader to pass. Well done to him for that.
From 3rd position down to a lap down, this will be a frustrating end to a race trooper.
Very, very strange. That's all the way up down to 8th now. That's lapped again, completely unsettled by what's happened.
As I think is a rear axle just completely cooked on the tyres.
Possibly. That could definitely, if he's all the offs and things like that, certainly not going to help the tyres. Greg Young is actually on his tail now and is going to look down the inside. He's halfway along the car. There's contact between the two. Ooh. Greg Young cutting the grass on the inside and does rejoin safely. So it's not Andrew Whitehead, it is Matt Daly behind him. So Greg is now back marking. He does dip to the inside and let him pass Colin Knief. So we've now reached the clock has ended. This is the penultimate lap.
Yep, and we've got a lot of people lapped down now, haven't we? Really, not many people actually on the lead lap.
There's been a fair few incidents, and with the track being so short and Colin Knief's pace being so high, he's done very, very well to get around so many people. Tom Herbert down in 3rd, just needs to hold on to that to the end of the race. Anthony Gray's a fair way behind him. Actually, Anthony Gray taking 4th over Alan Matthews. We did see there was a battle there. Clayton and Rob Whitney battling for position, with Colin Knief behind them as well. I think he's going to be a bit too far away. Possibly he's not going to catch them up in time. I'm not too sure. Let's just see how this one plays out between Clayton and Whitney. The last cars actually on the lead lap, but only very just. Coming through Levant Corner. Clayton drops back a bit from Whitney. I think he'll only have one more opportunity remaining. If they finish, they come across the start-finish line ahead of Knief, they will actually have another lap to battle. Whitney struggling to get it slowed down a little bit, but Clayton a bit too far away to challenge for position. But they will get another chance to battle as Colin Knief takes race 2 win. Well done to him, Matt Daly. Just coming through Woodcut. But Clayton down the start, finished straight, got the run and got the inside line. Got past Whitney very cleanly, just needs to hold on to that to the end. Matt Daly taking 2nd place. Tom Herbert Swarbrick off at St Mary's Corner again, struggling with that one. Hold on to that, Clayton. And Mary's as well, proving how difficult it can be sliding the rear car. It does look like he'll hold on to that position. So they are a little bit mixed up at the moment. So Harper finishing down in 8th, Young 9th, Andrew Whitehead down in 10th, Stephen Knight finishing in 11th, Paul Millman down in 15th. Herbert, the next across the line, will seal 3rd place. And not too soon as Anthony Gray finishes behind him in 4th. Alan Matthews will come home in 5th. There he is. Clayton will secure 6th place. Just getting that position on the last lap. Rob Whitney down in 7th. Sid Harper down in 8th. Young down in 9th. Andrew Whitehead down in 10th. Reversing up the track. Does get the car turned round. William Gleason 11th. Paul Plant in 12th. Stephen Knight 13th. Swarbrick in 14th. Millman in 15th. Luke Wiggins excuse me, in 16th. So let's go down to that. So just want to try and unpack some of that a second. There's a fair few little talking points to work through. Let's just so it's now a full reverse grid for the 10-minute sprint race of race 3. So Colin Knief, Daly and Herbert finished the top 3. Paul Plant, interestingly, down in 12th. He's going to be a lot further up the grid this time around than anyone else. So that, how do you reckon that will play out? Because he's going to be on like the 2nd or 3rd row at this rate, isn't he? For race 3. No, unfortunately, he did very well to finish where he did in race 1. But yeah, it's I think I'll have to go back and look later because I'm interested to see whether that was a back marker issue that cost him that race win, because he certainly had the pace over Daly in race 1. Yeah, not too sure about race 2 because I would have said he's certainly been in the way a little bit of some of the races, racing for position, not moving out of the way quite so much. You've seen people that have been back markers, like Whitehead and Herbert, I think, was one of them as well, and a few others, just moving out the way when they can, and letting race leaders through. But Plant definitely like battling as if he was on the lead lap. I don't know whether he thought he was because of the way he ended up coming into the pits after the first lap incident. But yeah, that could be an interesting one for the stewards to try and unpack as well. Do you reckon it caused much of an issue doing what he was doing, or? So they couldn't rely on the grips quite so much. I don't know. I think he did for that battle for 3rd place on the between. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was Herbert was one of them, wasn't he? And I can't remember the other one now. I suspect that's one that he impeded actually on that one midway through the race, because he did make contact with who was 4th. Yeah, it was Herbert. Sorry, he actually made contact with Herbert. Herbert came down, dropped down to 5th or 6th or something, and then it was only because of whoever was in 3rd then also had another incident. So yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't know whether he's going to receive a penalty for that one, but yes. Yeah, but as I said, he's going to be further up the field for the start of race 3. And so track temperature causing a few issues. Then people slightly caught short by the difference in the grip. But yeah, St Mary's definitely was one that was tricky for everyone, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty drastic. So yes, let's just join. Looks like we've lost one driver potentially, because I think Luke Wiggins dropped out of race 2, so hopefully we'll see him for race 3. And we'll see what track temperatures we're dealing with this time, whether it looks warmer or potentially snow, which has happened at Goodwood as well. Complete torrential downpour. I think that's probably the only British weather we haven't had yet, isn't it? But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, we thought it'd be interesting, but this is certainly shaking everything up, isn't it? Maybe not quite so much in the championship standings. Although the gap between Andrew Whitehead and Colin Knief is certainly going to open up a little bit with Andrew Whitehead's mid-pack performances. Oh no, it looks sunny. It looks sunny. Could be indeed. Let's just get that set up. There we are. Oh no, it's 15 minutes. Sorry, 15-minute sprint race by the looks of it. Not very 10 that we suspected from last time. But let's see if we can run through the order quickly. Luke Wiggins has joined us actually. So Luke Wiggins, because he has been a DNF, or dropped out of race 2, starts on the front row for race 3, as it's a full reverse grid. Paul Millman lines up next to him in second. It's gone through the order particularly funny, but I think that's got Swarbrick on row 1 as well. Paul Plant we can see on row 2 next to Stephen Knight. Greg Young, Andrew Whitehead and William Gleese on row 3. And Gray all the way at the back there. Colin Knief on the very, very back row on his own.
I'm sure for not
exactly, yes. Let's just have a look. Where is it? Ooh. So let's go to his view. There you go. That's the view he's got. That's the packed grid that he's got from race 1. With everyone in front of him. That's
oh dear, that'll be a scary one on the launch of the race, I can imagine.
That's going to be yeah, that's going to be interesting for him. Yeah, I have been in that position many times though with the way my racing goes, but yeah.
Yeah, same, and unfortunately usually not in a reverse grid circumstance.
Yes. So hopefully they can all get through. We've had 2 very exciting races so far. Let's see if race 3, the sprint race, will give us the same results. Hopefully they can rely on the grip a little bit better. Especially in St Mary's, which seemed to be the one that kept people out. And hopefully we can get everyone across the line without incident at the end. Final few moments for race 3 to begin. We have our 6 red lights on the gantry. Everyone raising their engine notes, anticipating the start of the race. The lights go out and they are away. Stephen Knight struggling for a start there. Looks like William Glaze trying to get on the outside of him. Everyone bumping positions. They're all moving about. They keep it in the straight and narrow though. Guy Swarbrick leading them through the first corner. Greg Young spiraling off the circuit. And so does Harper as well. And they both rejoin. But yeah, so lap 1 for that instance is more instant in the middle as I think it is. It is indeed rejoining the actually stationary after his bump with the barrier. Who's that spiraling off of St Mary's on the inside? That looks like Willing Lee. No, it's not. Who was it?
Who was it? It looked like
Herbert. There he was. Yes,
Herbert.
Got there, yes. Herbert rejoining.
I knew. Annoyingly, I knew who it was. I'm so sorry to say I forgot the name.
But he rejoins at the front of the grid. Guy Swarbrick leading the pack. Just about to get to Woodcut corner. Can you defend? Luke Wiggins in second. Paul Plant in third. Trying to get around Wiggins.
Back third, fourth, and fifth there. We've climbed the grid quite nicely.
Daly up into fourth. Colin Knief up into fifth now, all the way through the pack. Who's that? That looks like who was running by this massive incident actually before the chicane. So Herbert spinning out of control there. Andrew Whitehead getting through. I think it was Matthews that was running wide after the chicane. Luke Wiggins, Matt Daly, Swarbrick down into third now, trying to defend for Paul Plant's contact slightly between the two. They both held onto the cars very, very well. And yeah, who's that? Knief getting past Swarbrick as well. So yeah, Swarbrick doing incredibly well. Millman spinning out of control, touches the grass on the outside, or technically the inside at the beginning of St Mary's, and spins the car. He will rejoin. Hopefully he can rejoin fairly safely. He does indeed. Plant now up into second place. Andrew Whitehead up into sixth as well, actually. They're all shuffling positions. Like different camera angle now into Woodcut. As they all break into the chicane, everyone getting through very nicely. Andrew Whitehead on the back of Guy Swarbrick. Looks like he'll pick him off fairly easily. Paul Plant battling for currently in second. Battling for first, actually. Slight contact on the front wings. Paul Plant looking to get the inside line. Matt Daly behind them as well, looking to capitalise on this. There's contact between Paul Plant and Matt Daly. Matt Daly trying to hold on to that position, but follows him through, and Luke Wiggins finds himself down in fourth now after Colin Knief gets the inside as well. So in one swift move, Luke Wiggins severely lucked out. Unlucky there, actually, and dropping down the order. The battle for first between Paul Plant and Matt Daly, with Colin Knief behind them. So the three fastest drivers now find themselves on the same piece of tarmac, running nose to tail. Matt Daly trying to remove Colin Knief from his slipstream, but that's allowed Colin Knief to try and get the outside line. They all get it slowed down just in time. Very tight indeed. They all calm down for the chicane. Paul Plant struck the chicane.
Oh dear.
Paul Plant striking the outside portion of the chicane there. Loses.
He's lost 3 positions, but to be honest, that's actually not that bad given where he did collide.
Alpha actually running, I think, stationary. Brought himself to a stop on the exit at the start finish at the pit exit. Andrew Whitehead spinning the wrong way, and Clayton makes contact. Turns the cars over. Andrew Whitehead actually returns to the pits. Clayton still in the barrier, pointing the wrong way. But yeah, who was Andrew Whitehead racing with? That would have been, I think, Whitney, maybe? Before making contact with him. Great share. Or was it Swarbrick? I'm not too sure. But yeah, not sure what instigated that incident. But yeah, watching Andrew Whitehead now after exiting the pits finds himself down in 12th. Matt Daly and Colin Knief battling for position now, with Paul Plant all the way down in 5th. And actually, Willing Glaze, can he get a manoeuvre done on the outside? He cannot. Or can he? Paul Plant losing a huge amount of speed on the outside of that corner, and Willing Glaze just sneaking in time to get the manoeuvre done. He'll have to defend hard from Paul Plant, who's carried the speed well. Battle for the lead between Matt Daly and Colin Keneath. There's contact between the two, and Colin Keneath ends up striking the barrier hard. So Colin Keneath running very close to Matt Daly, carried the speed, but his bumper made contact with the offside rear of Matt Daly's car. Now Colin Keneath losing out in non-lead position, down in third. No, back up into second because Wiggins unfortunately ends up spinning out as well. Oh, just wait there, don't hit anyone else. Oh God. He does get going, but will he concede?
Oh, he's oh, what's he? He didn't. It looks like he didn't really know where to go. I don't think. Which I can't blame him with the tarmac being that thin, but maybe if he just, you know, kind of stuck to one line, would allow the others to go around the other side, but he kind of took the middle line,
He does get back up into race pace, but Greg Young losing out there. I think he was battling with Rob Whitney, and they all both had to avoid that position. Guy Swarbrick making contact with Paul Plant, actually making contact with Guy Swarbrick there. And who was that? Millman having to swerve out the way of Swarbrick rejoining the circuit. Running slightly wide, so another unfortunate race for Paul Plant, all the way down into 8th now. But back up in the lead, Matt Daly comes out on top of all the challengers and finds himself 8 and nearly 9 seconds ahead. Colin Keneath in second, with Will Inglis in third on the podium as well. For someone who've not seen this far up the order. Oh, starting to get my breath back again now. So 7 minutes of the race remaining. Plant getting past Greg Young for 7th. Higgins and Whitney battling for position for 5th. Just coming down the Vance straight, who can win out going into Woodcut. Wiggins looking for the inside line, gets cut off. Hasn't got the speed for the outside line. Trying to carry as much speed as he can through the chicane, lining up a manoeuvre on the exit perhaps. Certainly trying. Paul Plant lost some speed running wide. Greg Young carrying the speed, looking at the outside, can't get it done. Fierce battle for 5th place between Wiggins and Whitney. Actually, one of them's got the novice sticker on them. Actually, I'm not sure who it was. So Whitney actually, or is it they both have novice stickers? Paul Plant trying to get up the inside, I think. Who was that? Wiggins losing up. I think he actually tried to avoid Paul Plant diving up the inside of St Mary's. Swarbrick, after leading the race for a couple of laps, doing very well further up the order, unfortunately spinning on the entrance to St Mary's. And that hands Herbert up into 12th. Paul Plant now on the back of Whitney. Whitney running very wide.
Wide, yeah. It looks like it, at least to my screen, it looks like he couldn't slow down inside.
No, I think he was slightly distracted with Paul Plant behind him. Succumbed to the pressure. Alan Matthews in third.
Alan Matthews dipping his rear axle into the ground. Oh,
yeah, Colin Keneath off at the first corner. So I think Alan Matthews, he's not rejoined the circuit yet. I think he's got some steering issues. He's having to work the wheel a hell of a lot to keep it in a straight line.
Oh, what a shame.
He's got massive suspension issues to deal with. He will have to nurse that all the way back to the pits to get that repaired. And he is tumbling down the order. And
he is. Will he even be able to make it back to the pits in that condition?
He's brought it to a stop. I think he's going to call that quits. What
a shame. Excellent job from him so far. Oh no, is he? You can make it, Colin. I believe
you
in
can do it. What's that? Anthony Grave getting past Millman. Where's Paul Plant now? Paul Plant up to 4th now after. I'm going to say aggressively this evening. We've certainly seen a lot more aggressive play from Paul Plant getting himself up into 4th. I think there's quite a gap to Matthews. There is 4 minutes left, so we don't know. He has been... that's going to help the situation. Alan Matthews, we've cursed him. We've cursed him watching him. Commentators cursed him. Where's Colin Knief? Colin Knief made it to the pit, so so he's getting his car repaired. But yes, Alan Matthews now... Where's Paul Plant? There's a little bit of a gap still. And yes, look like Winning Glees possibly might have had the chance to battle for first, but no, Matt Daly has put his foot down and has definitely charged up the road as much as he can. Colin Knief, after some poor luck, is actually going to be 2 laps down now as Matt Daly comes down the start-finish straight. So not a great evening for him. Glees down in 2nd, and then Matthews currently in 3rd. 6 seconds behind is Paul Plant. 2.5 minutes remaining in race 3, sorry. I think is too much of a gap to bridge for Paul Plant, despite how much of a pace he's had. We're going down in 5th, Luke Wiggins down in 6th, Anthony Gray in 7th. Rob Whitney under pressure slightly from Paul Millman. Andrew Whitehead down in 10th. Tom Herbert down in 11th after finishing race 2 in 3rd. Smallbrook down in 12th, sorry. Clayton down in 13th. Knight in 14th. And Colin Knief 2 laps down. Will Harper actually a DNF. I didn't actually spot that one before. Interestingly, Greg Young closing the gap on Paul Plant. Can he put him under pressure? Greg Young not taking that, not taking it lying down. Certainly determined to use up the remainder of his tyres and try and battle for that 4th place. Can he carry the speed through the chicane? Paul Plant must be kicking himself after that incident earlier. Greg Young carrying the speed. Let's see how much of a gap we have. Doesn't look like a huge amount of space between the two. Plant's back end skipping a bit through St Mary's. Keeps up the straight and narrows. Managed to keep Mr. Young at bay, but we'll have him filling his mirrors. Matt Daly running in first. Colin Knief. So they're just both getting past Stephen Knight in 14th. Colin Knief, interestingly, just following Matt Daly.
Yes. Let me go back a few laps on this. You would have expected this, but you know it would have been very different on the timing screens.
It would have been, but at the moment, not challenging for position. It's just currently just cruising as it is behind the charging leader, who's still not let up his pace. 19 seconds ahead of his nearest rival. Gap opening up a little bit between Plant and Young. And then Matthews a fair way up the road as well. Should remain unchallenged. So yes, penultimate lap now for our race leader. Just coming down Levant Straight. Finds his braking zone for Woodcut. turns the car in expertly. And now spies his line through the chicane. So not all that many incidents through the chicane. It's been Woodcut that certainly, rather it's been St Mary's Corner that certainly caught them, caused a few calamities.
Does St Mary's have much of a camber on it in any way, shape or form? Or is it just sheer rough that's a low grip part?
I don't know, I suspect it might have a little bit, but I think it's mostly the undulation. It's right on board quickly. So this is the beginning of St Mary's. the blind left-hander. And then a little bit of undulation there before trying to find into Levant. So I think it's just its blindness and the slightly
You're not quite sure
slightly off camber. I mean, I think the undulation looks worse on the actual TV camera than it does actually on board, doesn't it? But
yeah, it's an odd one.
It's a very strange corner, but yeah, very little reference points to actually work out where you are. Matt Daly now coming through the chicane will finish race 3 in first place and take the win. Well done to him. Will Inglees, well done to him as well, will take a second place.
Very well done.
Very good podium position for him. Alan Matthews behind him, just going out of the chicane now. Sure won't say no to that. Well done to him for that position. Paul Plant, very aggressive driving this evening, comes home in 4th place for race 3. Greg Young in 5th. Luke Wiggins in 6th. Anthony Gray in 7th. Andrew Whitehead brings himself up into 8th after a not the best performance we've seen from him. I'm sure we'll be not happy with that. Paul Millman down in 9th. Rob Whitney down in 10th. Herbert coming through the chicane now, strikes the chicane, loses speed. Will he lose out? He does not indeed. There's just enough of a gap, I think, to Clayton, who's would have seen that, was charged along. But yeah, Herbert in 11th, Clayton in 12th, Warwick in 13th, Knight in 14th, and Colin Knief down in 15th. And our only DNF, Will Harper, as they all come to the pits at the end of the race. Wonderful! Oh dear. I don't know what had. I think probably Goodwood had a lot more incidents, didn't it, than that? But that was still very entertaining to watch. So yes, well done to all the race winners. Matt Daly taking race 1, and so actually for Matt Daly's championship point score, that's going to be a massive haul of points for him. As yeah, first, second, and a first. To eke out his championship points even more. The gap between Knief and Whitehead, probably not as bad as it looked like. Andrew Whitehead not scoring quite as many points as we suspected, but Colin Knief with some bad results at the end. Probably needs to worry a little bit, I think, overall. So the championship battle rages on between them. So yes, I'm sure that's that Paul Plant one. That's still playing on my mind. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it, with how hard he was charging for position as a back marker. But yeah, very interesting. I mean, it could have been. It was the way he sort of came into the pits, came out again, and then. Not sure. Just came across the leaders. Not too sure about that, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that does to the championship later. Now, where's me? Ah, there we go, in front of me. Slightly more normal racing circuit next week. In 2 weeks' time is a Donington circuit for a double race weekend, which should be good. Donington is a good track, and a bit more open and fast paced for cars like these as well. That should be good. That will be on the 25th of March. And in the meantime, the Rivos, the other the Tartars. When's that next race? That's on the 16th. Fantastic. Which actually circuit is Albert Park? I'm not actually sure what that one is. Oh, is it? Is Australia? Oh, is it? Oh, it's interesting. Oh, it looks like a street circuit. I thought it was Melbourne. Oh, yeah, it could be. It is indeed. We learn something new every day. So yes, that's where the Tartars will be on Tuesday. So drop in to see Reeve hosting that one, and then we'll be back with the Giuliettas on 25th. So yes, anything you'd like to add, Reeve, at the end, or?
Interesting to see the track evolve in between the races and the challenge that definitely provides with the drivers. So overall, I'd say a good weekend.
I must apologise. I think I've had you on mute for quite a while, so both the game audio and your voice would have been muted from the stream. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. So yeah, I've only just spotted that. So yeah, I apologise for that one.
No problem at all. To be honest, I wasn't speaking that much anyway, just to make sure we with the lag, I didn't want to start talking over anyway, so it's fine.
Okie dokie. Right. Yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream. So thank you very much for joining, and yeah, we'll see you soon.